Hey guys, Chechi here. So I've been playing a bunch of Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon over the last week or so, and I've just been having a great time with it so far. I've put about 25 hours into the game so far, and I just kind of wanted to share my thoughts about the game and my experiences with it so far. So to start with, the combat. Occasionally there's a weird hitbox or a missing hitbox, it feels like, or you're kind of missing it when it feels like you should be hitting it. And once in a while I'll get stuck on a little bit of clutter or terrain as I'm kind of dodging about. But generally, overall, it's felt pretty engaging and weighty, and there's a nice dash dodge kind of mechanic, which I think is kind of core to why the combat feels pretty good in this game. I actually love the charge dodge attack you can do, and my build and my playstyle have kind of started to revolve around that, and just doing like a charge attack to get in there, and then I'll just do an attack and I'll dodge back out to keep my distance. So I'm really starting to use the dodge mechanic quite a lot. Even from the very beginning I've been playing on veteran difficulty, and there's many things that will kind of often kill me in 1 or 2 hits, or especially when I was starting out. Now some of those it's more like 3 or 4, but again there are still the more powerful things that I'm running into that are killing me in 1 or 2 hits. And I've just started to find that generally just avoiding being hit altogether has kind of become core to how I'm playing, and then that's why the dash feels so good. And then there's different loadout weights on your equipment, which is really nice because there's sort of heavy, medium, light, and you'll end up getting extra dodges based on what loadout you've basically got, the weight of your loadout. I started out running light a lot, and then I've now got medium basically happening, but that's still enough dodges for what I've been doing, and it's generally felt pretty good. I think heavy might be just not enough dodges for how I'm playing. You've also got your crafting, and one cool thing that you can do with that is you can actually reduce the weight of your different pieces of gear, which I think is really cool. I haven't really done too much of it yet, but I'm sure I will at some point, because I think eventually I want to get back to just having a light load rather than medium so that I can have more dodges happening. You can also upgrade your weapons, and I think that's pretty cool because you can find a weapon and just upgrade it a bunch to kind of keep it competitive for a while. I'm not sure what the limit to upgrades is, but there is one sword that I really like that I found, which is just a big giant sword, and I've been using that a lot and just upgrading that a lot. And yeah, I really love the charge attack on that sword as well. It's very entertaining, just smacking things around with it. Occasionally there are useful items that you can craft. For me there was one that was like a mask with like a skull mask type deal, and it was giving me some extra melee damage. I crafted it and then almost immediately found something better, but it's just cool that you can occasionally find something that might be useful for you. Might be a good upgrade or something. There's also an alchemy system, so you can like gather ingredients and everything, and then you can craft up some potions and whatnot. I've mostly been just making health potions with that, just because of the way I've been playing. I haven't really been playing a magic character, so I haven't needed mana or anything. There's also cooking, and generally cooking will let you make a variety of different healing over time type of items, and that's pretty much all I've been using it for so far. And there is one quest that it was involved in, which was pretty fun. A fun little silly one. You've also, of course, got your character progression. There's attributes and skills and skill trees. I started out as a stealthy kind of character, and I had a bit of dexterity going on, and I was dual wielding some daggers. But then when I found the really awesome giant sword, I basically killed some bandit guy and he dropped this massive sword. And then I was like, that sword seems awesome. It's got huge reach. It seems incredibly useful for what I want to be doing and how I want to be playing. So then I basically swapped to strength, and I've just been using that sword primarily ever since. And then I've just found a bunch of other really cool two-handed weapons. So going two-handed seems to have been the right route. Then building off of that, I've basically put a bunch of points into perception, which then gets my crit chance and my crit damage up. And now I found a really powerful set of armor that might even make me respec again, just so that I can then use that armor and kind of build around that armor a bit more. But I'll see what I decide to do. If you do want to respec, you basically use an origin potion, and I've found a few of those along the way, and I'm only just finishing the first area, so I'm kind of guessing that there'll be enough to find throughout the game to basically cater to quite a few respecs if you need to respec a few times. So that's kind of nice to have. The skill trees are pretty cool. They're basically divided into different attributes, and then they basically have, you know, all the standards like different weapon types like two-handed, one-handed, bows, daggers, and you've got like other ones like health and stamina and so on. I've mostly been kind of focusing on just increasing my damage by some percentage, or then even more by some percentage when certain conditions are met. And I've just kind of been doing that across a few of the different skill trees available. And it's really starting to come together now and be pretty nasty. And I've just been doing a lot of damage and I get a lot of crits. And yeah, it's been pretty satisfying. That progression has just felt really nice so far. Another aspect of the game that's felt really rewarding has been the exploration. So the game world itself still occasionally feels kind of gamey, and the scale of it's not massive, so that might be part of why. But generally, the exploration and just traveling through the world, that's felt like quite engaging and interesting. And often you'll kind of find loot in interesting places. Like you might see a hole that you can jump down into a little pool of water or something, or you might like go down a little tunnel at the back of a crypt or something, and you'll often find loot in those places. You might even see like some broken tree roots or something, and you'll think, could there be like a chest in between there? And you'll like jump into it, and then sure enough, there's some kind of loot waiting for you there. So whether it is, a piece of loot, or sometimes it's like an enemy to fight, or you might even find like a cave or something else to explore, there's usually always something cool to find, and that's pretty nice. Like that feeling of just being rewarded for traveling around and exploring and really like diving into it and being like, I'm gonna go down here, or I'm gonna look at that, I wonder if there's something over here, and then there usually is. A really cool example of this is basically just that when I had nearly finished the first area, there were just a few small parts of the map that were still kind of hidden by the fog on the map, and I hadn't actually explored them. So then I made the effort to kind of go to those areas and explore them. And these were like really small gaps that I hadn't explored, basically. And pretty much without fail, I would find a cave or something else to explore in those places. So that was really satisfying. There's also some pretty fun level design in places, just some of the layouts and some of the ways you get to like lower levels of things. Like there was one crypt I was in that then to access the lower part of it, I basically had to jump through a coffin. So that was pretty cool. There's just a few nice things like that, and they also feel pretty good, and they kind of work in conjunction with the general exploration of stuff to make it feel like another extra layer added to that exploration. The other part that ties in really well with all of this is the stories and the quests, and I love the way you're kind of introduced to some of the different stories and quests. Often you kind of start talking to a character, and then you ask them about a few different things, and then some topic of conversation might lead to them giving you a quest, or they might ask you for help with something fairly benign, but it's sometimes pretty amusing, some of these quests that they ask you to kind of help them with. One cool example of this was when I was talking to an old keeper down at the village, and basically he was just having a chat with me, and then I kept asking him questions, and eventually it was like, hey, buy me a drink if you want to ask me more questions. So then I have to keep buying him a drink every time I wanted to ask him something, but eventually that basically led to him giving me a quest, and that quest was pretty fun, and the story behind it and everything. So that's just some of those elements are really well integrated into the world and the way you interact with the characters, and it feels really cool so far. The visuals are also pretty nice sometimes, just generally the artistic layout and the positioning of different elements and just kind of the artistic vision, all of that feels pretty good. Even if the visual fidelity isn't always the highest, just the general art style and everything feels pretty good. So I've been enjoying that as well, and there's been a few places where it's been pretty damn epic. All of those things combined into that general gameplay loop of just talking to some NPCs, doing some quests, engaging in some combat, and just kind of steadily progressing your character's power through obtaining new items and leveling up and then unlocking points to spend on your attribute tree and your skill tree. All of that feels pretty damn satisfying, and I'm pretty excited to dive back into the game and play some more and explore further into the game and see what it has to offer. So that's basically my thoughts about Tainted Grail after about 25 hours with the game so far. It's definitely very Elder Scrollsy with like a tinge of Dark Souls or something. But yeah, I've just been having a ball with this game so far, and I can just see that I'm going to lose so many hours in this. And I'm already thinking of like different builds to muck around and play with and all of that type of thing. So that's always a good sign. But anyway, that is it for this one. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of Tainted Grail down in the comments. Have a good day or night, whichever it may be, and I will see you in the next video.
You swam beyond the breakers, where the sea stretched endless and
cool.
empty. No boat, no shore, only the abyss below. Then the water stirred, not with tide or wind, but with something vast and aware. A presence older than the gods, lurking where no light has ever reached. You caught a glimpse of shifting scales, of something impossibly vast. Then the water closed over you, and you were gone.
That's cool, man.